What's up? What's up? Yes, I'm back. The king is back. Now on the Patreon, we got This is 50 going. And right now, that This is 50 video is crazy right now. You hear the story about 50 and what happened in Southside Jamaica, Queens. That's going on right now. But right at this very moment, we need to speak about something else. Enes Kanter has made a declaration, and his declaration is towards the draft for the WNBA, declaring himself, him and Royce White. Again, shocking. But what's even more shocking is what's been put on the table by the WNBA making these rules.
To a trans athlete over
another way to kind of.
Now, you've had female athletes in the WNBA who have made these pledges. No, this isn't a joke. They are declaring for the WNBA. And we're going to tell you why. See, the WNBA has put in a rule suggesting that women or people who declare themselves as transgender, so if you're born a man, if you declare yourself a woman, you're eligible for the WNBA. You could qualify to go to training camp or whatever. You're eligible. Now, what I'm saying is this doesn't guarantee you're going to be on the team. Let me get that addressed to people right now who might believe, like, so I could be on the team? No. That means there be a tryout. They gotta have a reason to not put you on the team. Now, if they play Royce White and Enes Kanter, would they be someone that wouldn't be considered? Would they be someone that would be so far under the radar or over the radar or whatever that they wouldn't even qualify? See, now you're entering another realm where the possibility realm is out of this wall. It's like out of the water. Now, I say that to say this, y'all. Now, many of y'all didn't know my uncle passed away from Saginaw, Michigan. Dante, who y'all seen come up here, his father. One of my favorite uncles, man. Uncle Sil passed away last week. The funeral was today. So, well, the funeral was yesterday, but today was like the party. Some prayers go out to the family and everybody out there. Respect your loved ones. See them as much as you can. For everybody out there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Only my Patreons, I think, really, truly knew. So I haven't been around. So you noticed I haven't really been here. Well, some people noticed. They saw a lot of videos, but they didn't see me. So now, you know, you guys are, since like today, you guys have been seeing me. So I'm back. Now, let's get into this, because this right here is where it's really gonna hurt. The WNBA has run into a big problem And the problem that it's run in is that it's following a liberative notion rather than a common sense one. It's like, okay, we get it, you know, you want to treat everyone equal, and no one says that you should treat transgenders unequally for anything. They're human beings. Why they make that so complicated, I don't understand. A gay person, a straight person, it doesn't matter. They're humans. So they should be treated with human rights. You treat them with the same rights as everybody else. So they have rights no matter what preference they choose to be. It's a human situation. It's not complicated. It's very easy. It's very simple. So why they try to complicate these things, I have no idea. I guess it's to keep people confused because this is Babylon you're living in right now. So everybody's mind is confused and just into a ball where it doesn't make sense. Yeah, I've been definitely dealing with that, with prayer, everything, man. So I just wanted to stay abreast with the situation. It was hard week, knowing that that was coming up and stuff. But anyway, back to this. So Enes Kanter came out and made his statement and his declaration that, hey, I'm going to go ahead and join. Because he's noticed a trend that is, you know, I don't blame the players because they have to follow this agenda line that they've set. But I don't know how many transgenders they are that are watching WNBA. Okay? I'm quite sure they want to play in there because most of them couldn't make it in the real NBA. So now they want to say I classify as a woman to try to play into women's sports. Do I think transgenders should play in women's sports? No. Why? Because that's unfair. Just like women shouldn't play in men's sports, men shouldn't play in women's sports. They're separate for a reason. It's genetics. Okay? Not saying that there isn't a possible woman that could actually play in the NBA. But the rule of thumb is that the chances of that is very slim. Like the chances of a man playing in a woman's league, depending on what man it is, could do a lot. We're not talking about the guy sitting on the couch trying to go play in WNBA. Yeah, he might not be successful, but then again, he might average a double-double. Who knows? But what we're saying is that opens the door, a bad door that you don't want to go down. So you don't have dual sports where there's a blending of the athletes from male to female when it comes to the playing, or you wouldn't have two different leagues. So why should transgenders get that privilege to go ahead and say, well, I want to go here now? So to basically go against the grain of the rules of the WNBA, like they should have a stricter ban on that. If transgenders feel so much and so adamant, they should come together and have their own special league for transgenders, and they could all play together, and they can all have their own league. And the thing is that if you're born with female parts, you're born with both, and you want to, I don't know how to determine these things. I'm just saying, if you born with male parts and don't have female parts or whatever, I just don't think you should be in the WNBA. Period. I just don't. Now, I don't know if they have a special place for these people. I don't, like even in the jails, when they trying to say, well, how are we gonna handle that? If you got you got a hot dog, like I tell you, my other uncle, Crazy Collins boy, you got a hot dog and you got a hamburger. You got a hot dog, you go into the male's prison. You got a hamburger, you go to the female's prison. Hot dogs and hamburgers, baby. That's what it's about. So, yeah, I know y'all didn't have crazy family members like me. I get it. But so Enes Kanter is saying that, there should be a declaration to go towards the NBA, because, the WNBA, because of this. So even my drunk uncle, not the one I'm talking about now, my other uncle on my father's side, who was sitting there holding a beer in his hand, saying the craziest things on earth. It all comes down to hot dogs and hamburgers. And I was a kid. And he's basically trying to tell me the difference between male and female. It's hilarious. I'm like, what is he talking about? Is he really trying to explain the birds and bees to me? He finna tell me the birds and the bees with hot dogs and hamburgers. This is hilarious. So, yeah, I've never forgotten that. That was like historical. Yeah, so my thing is the female basketball players in the WNBA, when they interview them, they're asked about it, and they give these interviews, and they're not denouncing it because that's what the league don't want them to do. And they're making it sound like it's all inclusive. Like it's a bed and breakfast. Like, this is great. This is wonderful. Let's listen.
Trans people.
Okay. Say LeBron James changed his gender. You know what I mean?
Would really be a change.
Can he stay in the NBA, or because he's a woman, does he have to go to the WNBA where he will score 840 points a game? What does it actually mean to be equal? You know what I mean?
After careful consideration and reviewing the current eligibility guidelines, I am officially declaring myself a WNBA prospect. If simply declaring who you are is all that's required, then I meet every single requirement necessary to compete in the WNBA.
So you see what Enes Kanter had to say, right? You see how much of a mess this is becoming, right? And everybody want to act like, oh my goodness, we don't want to hate on trans. We don't want to hate on trans folks. That's not what that's about. Anybody who's hating on them should be ashamed of themselves. The WNBA, the NBA, and everybody else in between is absolutely right where they talk about not violating people's civil rights and liberties, not being hateful, not engaging in hate in any way, shape, form, or fashion, whether verbally, physically, or otherwise. We all know that. But what Enes Kanter is pointing to is about competition. So for somebody to transition from male to female, and for folks to act like it would be okay for them to participate in the WNBA is ridiculous. And when you have athletes from the WNBA saying that they're looking out for and speaking up on behalf of girls, because it would clearly be an unfair advantage to a trans athlete over people born female, what's the problem? What's the problem? We got to have common sense. And yes, Enes Kanter is going a bit too far, but he's right to do so to make a point. And Royce White, former NBA player, Now, a conservative pundit, he's right too, because he's trying to make a point. Certain things are beyond ridiculous, and you got to call it out just to send the message. Do you get it now? Are you sure you want to continue this subject? Are you sure you want to continue on this path? Sure you don't want to be political pawns? Fine. Then understand that the WNBA is for girls and people born female, and leave it at that. And stop acting like you don't know. Otherwise, there'll be a lot more Enes Kanters.
And that's right. And this is what we were talking about before. And Stephen A. Smith, sometimes he says something correct. Now, after he said that, he was simply clarifying that for the April 2027 draft, he want to meet all eligibility. He said he knows his presence on the court will stir up strong opinions. He's definitely not there to mock, make fun, or disrespect any community or personal choices. He's simply asking that the current rules be applied equally to everyone, the rules that represent that very values many NBA, WNBA players and coaches have publicly advocated for. So my team and I are prepared to ensure these guidelines are applied equally, consistently, and without exception. And I look forward to the WNBA honoring its stated principles. See you at training camp. So he's there to see if he gets drafted. Now, if Enes Kanter don't get drafted, if nobody drafts Enes Kanter or Royce White, what is it based off of? Because you know that's what's going to happen, right? You know that's going to be the next thing to happen. The next thing to happen is that well, thank you for that, but the next thing that's going to happen in that situation would be very clear. In that transitional, right, thank you. In that transitional sense that you see right there before you, what's going to be laid out is a clear and concise example that they want to put in front of you. Where they're going to have to change the rules and they're going to have to walk back what they're actually promoting and dealing with. Because here's the thing. They don't want transgenders in their sport. They don't.
For purposes of
They don't want transgenders in the sport of the WNBA. Okay, let's get that addressed right now. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. The WNBA does not want transgenders in their sport. Period. They're not going to tell you they don't want transgenders in their sport. But they don't want that. What they want to do is to pretend to be all-inclusive. And they'll market it and say, we support you and all of that. But when it comes to the actually being on the court, they're not going to get drafted. Absolutely. I think that they should re-look at the entire scope of what they're doing as a whole. Look at it and say, hey, what in the world is going on here? And we got to try to fix this because it isn't right. Nothing is materializing the way it's supposed to be, and that's a problem. They have no intentions of letting one actually play in the WNBA. Unless that player is so bad. Because here's the thing, let's say they approve it, right? They let Royce White and Enes Kanter come into the WNBA. And they suck it up. And the women embarrass them. And the other women's beat them on the court. Let's say they rig it, they get them in foul trouble early. They do anything to get them out of the game. Right? Now the attention has gone in a negative for the WNBA. It's going to be a slight. First of all, that's never going to happen, but we're doing the what if scenarios, right? If that happened, it's going to be on such a slant that it will be an embarrassment for the WNBA, the marketing. You're going to drive away the dollars that you worked so hard to fight for to get, right? You actually got racist conservatives watching WNBA now when they believe women should be in the kitchen. But now, since there's a white liberal girl there, and there's Sophie Cunningham, they're good, clean, and wholesome. And those black girls are out to hurt it. That's what they're there for. They want to hurt those girls. I'd be like, you know they're not the only two white people out there in the game. You know there's 1,000 other white people in the WNBA. They act like Caitlin Clark is the only white thing. Like she just came from heaven and they just delivered her from white heaven. White Jesus then brought Caitlin Clark there to go play in this all-black WNBA. And she's beating those girls. And they're out there trying to hurt her. And they made this a whole big race issue that it went way so far past the gun line, it don't even make sense. I'm always going after them. I don't think Sophie Cunningham is racist. I believe Sophie Cunningham grew up rich and privileged. And in her lifetime, this is where it is. See, that's the problem. Where we at now, this is where it basically is. They want no inclusion. I mean, no inclusion into what's going on. Here's the problem that most people don't understand. When you look at certain scenarios, certain people, certain things that present themselves, everybody's going to be super sensitive about subject matters, right? People have different psychoses. People say, hey, I was born like this. Some people changed and to make a decision later on in life after being 30 years one way, then they want to spend the rest of their life another way. We've seen all of this. Some of you might have people in your family like that. So the thing is that, are you going to not care about them being your family because they're going that way? Or I'm like this. I can't tell you what God gonna do for you. That's something you got to discover with God. That's on you. God gave you this life. I didn't give you this life. So that's for you to be judged by God. Either which way it go on what happens in your life, your time, your career, whatever that you do. No one is in here spewing hate. It is not hate to say transgenders should not be in the WNBA. That's not hate. That's called common sense. And when people are ignoring common sense because they want to ride an agenda train because it feels like it benefits them, they get to wear these shirts. It's all about inclusion. It's all about a march towards something and a promotion towards something, but you don't get any results. Right? Remember BLM. What results did you get out of that? You got people stealing money, doing whatever they wanted to do. So you got to be careful who you put your allegiance next to, because that all matters. Who you set your allegiance to matters in this lifetime. So you want to be very careful which way you move next. Most people move like that, Joe. People move in panic. So when they see panic or whatever social, political agendas going on out there, if you don't move or you don't assimilate with what the masses are all gathering to do, and you're against that, and you said, well, my common sense said no. They'll look at you right now. Is this thing half empty or half full? Which one would you say? And they'll sit there and ask you that question, right? Without thinking about it. I was moved out of regular psychology and put in an advanced psychology class in less than one class. I'll say took about 10 to 15 minutes. That would be my last day ever coming in that class. The first day I walked in, the professor had a glass right there on the table and had it half full and said, this is all you're going to do. It was written on the board. Write down, what do you think about, is that glass half full, half empty? And then you can leave. I said, cool. Signed my name, wrote down everything, and said, I'm out. Here we go. I was in there about 10 minutes. I looked at the glass. I wrote. They was like, cool. All we got to do is just say it's half full. That means you're positive. If you say half empty, that's going to be you negative. So people are saying this all in the class and writing it down. I looked at the whole board. I looked at the glass, and I said, I wrote down my statement. Next day, he read all of them, and he says, who's this guy here? And he had me come up there. He says, you're the only one that wrote this. And he's like, I have classes all through the day. No one has said what you said. Not once. What made you say the answer that you gave? I said, depends on what's the state of the glass. I don't know the state of the glass, so I can't really make a decision on if it's half empty or half full. If you drunk the contents down to the middle, then it is half empty. If you poured content into the glass and stopped at the middle, then it's half full. It's common sense. He says, you're not in this class no more. I'm like, what? Nope. you're going to advanced psychology. This is a waste of your time. He knew right away, I can't have you here. You're different. I'll get paid to teach these idiots. They're not going to listen to a thing I say. I just get paid. I got to do it. But you are different. Definitely, you belong in the advanced class. And in the advanced class, this guy goes on to tell me about things that we all know now is the Matrix. But this is before the Matrix was out. So, and I'm like, he's from Chicago, so the creator is from Chicago. She probably knows that guy. Because everything they said was the Matrix. That's basically what we learned in advanced psychology, was the Matrix. And he really believed that. He was, how do we know this chair is real? I'd be like, we're sitting on it. How do we know it's physically real, though? What do we know? It's made of what? Molecules, right? All of this is made of molecules. A bunch of molecules. Like, dude, this guy's mind was in an entirely different space. Yes, a black woman created it. The Wachowski brothers and everybody, yes, the creators of that came from Chicago. So when the Matrix actually came out, I thought it was the professor. Because I said, oh my God, this is exactly what he was talking about. This is exactly what he was talking about. He thinks that we don't exist. He was like, this is all projected. Like, this is all our projections. We're not real. And like, when we die, we wake up in heaven to our real bodies. That we're just really projecting ourselves here. He does not, like, he really believes it. Like, my professor really believed that. It wasn't just talk for him. And then the Matrix come out, and I said, well, they must have talked to him, because this is exactly what he was talking about. And if he didn't, he's going to see this like, I told you. I'm like, whoever wrote this, they had his class. And they probably said, what this man said, I'm going to write a movie. Because they definitely talked to that man. Because he broke down the Matrix. She did Terminator and she did the Matrix. And said they're all connected. And they tried to make the sequels without her. And she said, well, that sucked. You saw how they sucked. Because you can't make the sequels without me. You don't understand it. And she was right. So people's psychological, and what I'm trying to say, they psyches are different. It doesn't mean that someone else is better. That don't make, because I think differently than everybody else, doesn't make me an enemy of somebody or I should be shunned. I just think differently. I don't have to be in a simulation. I don't have to think like Johnny and Janie. I grew up in a non-nurturing school environment and was immediately moved up from the 3rd grade. And I mean, the bar wasn't very high. Wasn't a lot of prominent education there in the projects. Okay, and a lot of people were way behind the 8 ball. And you didn't even know it. When they put in a thing in 1st grade, and the teacher basically was making me a target right away. I'm like, are you trying to get me beat up? They was like, what did we come to school to do? Like, and everybody was like, to read. I'm like, and I put to learn. And she was like, you thought I discovered fire. This kid is something else. I'm pulling your desk up right next to mine. I'm like, what are you doing? In the first grade, I knew, I'm like, I'm gonna get beat up. This is the project. He was like, yeah, teacher's pet. I'm like, what was I supposed to do? Get that wrong? You put read? You think we come to school to read? What? This is first grade. So I didn't know I was being different. It was, to me, it was common sense. So my thought process was different. Right. Like some people, they can't do two things. Like my brain works entirely different. One brain will be still working on doing some other stuff while this part of the brain is doing this video. I can multitask in that kind of a way. And it's always been there. For instance, like they say, many of you, like they say you can't pat your head and rub your stomach at the same time. I can do that with ease. You see this? Patting my head, rubbing my stomach with ease. I can go in reverse. I can switch hands and do it. Some people say it's easy until they actually do it, and they cannot. Now, here, the point I'm trying to make is that doesn't make me better than anyone else. It just means I just think differently than everyone else. But in society, they teach you that's dangerous. And that's the problem. They don't allow that. They think of it as a threat for anybody who thinks differently than the assimilation. And that is part of this problem. So what's common sense seems like uncommon sense to the rest of the world.
Has declared for the WNBA draft a second player. This is like the WNBA's 9/11 times 2, as a former NBA player, Royce White, says he's declaring for the next WNBA draft. After Enes Kanter announcement, here we go.
As sometimes identifying as a woman for purposes of basketball, professional basketball. So I'll be declaring for the WNBA draft in 2027 as well. Well, I mean, I think I'd be unstoppable. But I'm a team first guy. I'm a pass first kind of player. I do the little things. I led my team in all 5 major stat categories at Iowa State University. So I do a little bit of everything. I'll do whatever the coach needs me to do. I'll do whatever the girls need me to do. I think the WNBA could come out and make a definitive statement about guys with a pair of balls playing in the Women's Association. But hey, that'd be probably too much like right. So, and I don't want to be discriminated against. No, I want fair treatment. I'm a black, I'm a young black, hopefully United States senator that would like a fair chance to participate as a sometimes identifying as a transgender woman athlete.
As a sometimes identifying as a transgender woman athlete.
So let that settle in. So now Royce White wants to compete in the WNBA. When people are caught in their ways, stuck in their ways, it's because, like I told you, it's agendas. There's money behind it. There's causes. There's a lot of different things that go along with it that people, they politic for things that they don't even believe in. Like, we have politicians over here talking about COVID-19, and then they shut down the city, a governor, then he'll go to his other house where it's open, and he's partying all day. He's going out to Florida, he's going to Wisconsin. He's not staying here where it's closed and shut down. Now, all of these people saying we can't stay silent anymore is for a reason. These people are tired of the agenda being pushed. But why is this happening? Why is this agenda being pushed? You have to start looking up the ladder. Who is putting these agendas into play? The WNBA should be about the actual women players that's on the court and talking about their game. Instead, we're talking about everything political and putting that on them. Caitlin Clark did an interview saying people are trying to speak for me. And she's saying, look, I care about basketball, the game, and that's it. She's not political. And everybody's using her as a political tool on each side to try to make their points. The world has become weird because you got to look up the ladder. Who's in power? Who's in control? Who's got their hand on the wheel? You see, the people that got their hands on the wheel, they're the ones that's creating the narratives. They're the ones that's changing things. They're the one that's telling somebody it's okay to have your kid in little school make a decision at 13 years old on if he wants to have changes done to his body surgically. You know, it's these type of people that are in charge that we're looking at and saying they know what's best for us. So all of these things that they're putting in place is not making sense to the overall consensus. So we have to start doing what's right from the jump. We're failing ourselves in actuality. They won't let it happen. They won't let a transgender play in the league. It would be basically what they're campaigning for is not going to happen. But the publicity off of it, the marketing saying we're all inclusive, if a transgender tried to come in there, that person would be villainized. And it goes along with the psychological process of them saying, hey, you should go ahead and do it. Let's say a transgender person robs a bank. And then they come in there and they try to arrest them for robbing the bank. And it was like, you just hate me because I'm transgender. This is the only reason you're doing it. And the guy be, hey, wait, hold on. That's not why we're here. Then why are you harassing me? Well, you robbed the bank. That's why you robbed the bank. We got to stop. You're a bank robber. I have to arrest you. I'm sorry. So when your sexual orientation becomes the story, this is the problem. Now people don't even know how they're supposed to approach somebody. Or can we even say the word transgender now? Can we say the word gay? Gay used to mean happy. See, the thing about time is we seem to believe we know it. We don't know time. You don't know what day it is. You have no idea on a calendar where we are and what is the actual date or time because they have manipulated it. With leap year, with time going back and forth, you don't know what date you are. You know how long leap year has been? That they've been adding an extra day to the calendar? They have added over 30 some odd days, almost 2 months into the calendar with leap year. So that shifts the calendar. That's why it starts to get cold in days when it should be getting hot. That's why summer seems to last longer. And you're like, wait a minute, and it's colder than it should be in like June and July. And now September and August are starting to get cold. People have not processed or even thought about that. Let me ask AI then. How many days have leap year added since it began? Okay, let's take a look for ourselves, good people. Let's look at this. See, first of all, 45 BC, Julius Caesar introduced with the Julian calendar a leap day for every 4 years. Right? So then the Roman priests mistakenly observed leap years for 3 years for a couple, and then they corrected the drift. In 1582, they fixed the 11-day calendar drift by skipping centuries of years not divisible by 400. So it's roughly anywhere from 515 to 520 days that has been added due to leap year, going back to the calendar. Now, in modern times, this can be said to be a problem. So when they started putting calendars together and deciding who would get what, and Julius Caesar and everyone else, they decided to take a day from February because he wanted to have more days. So, craziest story ever. But it goes to show you that they roughly don't know what day is what. You don't know what day it is, what time it is. You have no idea. So to think you know God's time is what you really don't know. Because what could be a year for you could be probably a day for God. You don't know. So when it says he built the world in 7 days, yeah, that's his 7 days. What's 7 days to God? How many years that's going to be in our time? What might be a day for him? It's like years to us. Now, if we look at why we're here, the situation, how it's being presented to us, who's presenting this type of information to us, why is it not being discussed more? That's something you could look into. But right now, it's like, what are we actually doing? This WNBA move seems very political. Just nothing adding to the sport whatsoever. And the WNBA should focus on promoting and marketing its game. Stop trying to make political agenda pushes that doesn't need to be. If you have a transgender person, if you want to support them, great. Have them participate in transgender sports where they can compete against others like them. When they have the special needs Olympics, do you think that you got other people saying, hey, that's discriminating against us? We should be in there. Let me get in a wheelchair and race this guy. You know, they're not in our sports because of their special needs. So they compete in those sports and they take it very seriously. You know, their basketball games is brutal. So I'm just saying, we need to get back to a point where it's about the sport. We got to let go of the nonsense. Get back to the actual sport. Because that's where we're lacking. That's where our attention span is leaving us. And we're becoming so caught in political agendas. And now everybody who's picking this up got their own agenda and saying, see, this is the left, this is the liberals. And they're like, conservatives just hate everything and everybody. And it's just like, why are we here? Why are we doing this? There's so much going on in the world right now. I mean, literally so much going on in the world right now that this is the last thing we need to be worried about. It is left and right. We're coming to a point where in the next 4 years, jobs are going to be way, way low. It's going to be so far low for jobs that you're going to see a lot of different things happening. So y'all need to adjust, get ready to adjust, because it's coming. Oh, AI is real. AI is real. And who do you think they're going to get these jobs to? Yeah, I know, it's tragic, but that's the way it is right now, man. So yeah, well, No, I don't see it that way. Movies told us this day was coming. Well, yeah, because they don't look. It's already happened in other countries. That's why the United States been slowing it down because they know if they allow all that here in the United States, it's going to be a massive problem. Mm, really? That what you thought? I never thought of it like that. I look at it from a different perspective. So, if y'all want to, robots are cool until they got your job, dude. In overseas, they don't even have cash register like a cashier. Cashier doesn't exist. Everybody rings themselves out. They don't even have tellers at most of the restaurants to get the food. The food is prepared in the back. You pay for it right there at these electronic devices that they have for their McDonald's, everything. Overseas have pretty much had this problem of lack of jobs. Now it's just more shipping and servicing AI. So if you don't learn these jobs that we tried to help you guys get on the Patreon, so if you're not on my Patreon, I don't understand what the problem is. Then you get to see the 50 Cent. This is the one that's caught fire so far, that's taken off. But this has been a key learning situation. Oh, definitely. Well, we're gonna see what it reads. You know, when it's all said and done, we're gonna see how they play this thing through. So, mm-hmm. We have lives on the Patreon too. That's just for the Patreon members. We went over the entire Tupac and what happened, who was responsible, the whole nine. We went from front to back. You know the whole story. We did that on the Patreon. So anybody want to know my thoughts on it? That's that. That's all I knew, all I known. Whole nine. Yeah, well, when they try to get all this studio equipment and all this stuff together to push narratives and agendas that don't make sense, then you'll see. All right, I'm gone.